Hey, yo, what's going on, guys? Got a brand new episode of Marvel Yap for you guys, episode number 56. We're going to be talking about the OTA, giving you guys some reactions to that, as well as a review of the Heralds season, and we're going to be talking about the Visions of the Future season. Full card breakdown. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, we're joined by not only the hostess with the mostest, but the man stash that is the talk of the town, the blue eyes, white dragon, handsome devil himself, notmydance. How are we doing today, Dance?
I'm doing very well, and I guess it's because of Talk of the Town, the fun stuff, where not together, but Marvel Yap will be over on the Golden Gauntlet. We don't even have a card in between us today because we're just so stoked about this. Yeah, you and I are both going to be commentating, not with each other. You're going to be with Harry. I'll be with Super Tech God. We'll be both commentating in the second round of qualifiers for this Golden Gauntlet coming up on Saturday.
Yeah, it is going to be absolutely insane, which, by the way, if you guys have not signed up for the Golden Gauntlet, you guys should join the Discord, which that link will be down in the description below. And who knows, maybe Dance and I will have the opportunity to cast one of your games live on the Marvel Snap Twitch. So very excited for that, and very excited for our topics for today as well, Dance, because we are going to be talking about this OTA, which hit some tech cards pretty heavily, maybe not enough, as well as our review of the Herald season. Where did we rank in our review for the cards themselves? Were we right? Were we dead wrong? As well as the preview for the Visions of the Future season, which is coming out on Tuesday, which also, fun fact, on Tuesday, I will be streaming on the front page of Twitch, and I might have maybe a few giveaways going on as well as we all celebrate the new season. And who knows, maybe we hit Day 1 Infinite on the front page of Twitch. But cool. It should be an absolute banger episode, an absolute banger season, absolute banger Tuesday. Dance, do we want to just go ahead and start right into the OTA? Because I have a feeling this is going to be a potentially long episode, so I think we might want to just go at it, right?
Yeah, I do agree with that. And speaking of bangers, I think this OTA was a banger, by the way. I would really say that, probably.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, America Chavez going to that +3, by the way. How did you feel about this one?
So I've actually been playing America Chavez with the +3. I've been playing a lot of Victoria Hand this week. I mean, honestly, I've been playing a lot of Victoria Hand this season. But I was playing a Werewolf by Night version of the Victoria Hand deck with Merlin and stuff. And with Chavez, I mean, it's still just a 1/2, base cost and base power. But the +3 is actually better. Like any card that gets +3 normally is going to be a pretty solid card. Of course, this doesn't make this card the best card in the entire game kind of thing. But the +3 did feel like it had a better, immediate impact and made this card a bit more functionable and a bit more playable, which I did really enjoy.
Yeah, I honestly think they did a solid job with this one. This just felt like a free point of power that I loved and was really cool, really interesting. Another card, by the way, just in terms of going into these one drops that they just wanted to bring up. Did you really? I mean, yeah, this is probably good. However, do you think this matters?
I don't think this necessarily matters right now. Maybe with cards coming out in the future, it might. But I think this is still this is kind of like the same situation as like a Nicholas Scratch, but like Nicholas Scratch seems like a bit easier to actually do things. And then we also have a 1-drop coming out this next season that makes this card look not even as good as it might, quote unquote, be okay. Like we have a card coming out that literally just like says, oh, this card exists, but here's brand new Series 5 card that does way better things.
God, I don't know. I wish this one just is better in general. But I feel like part of the reason is that we don't have enough cards that synergize with this, legit.
Yeah.
Like, we just don't have anything else. The card I think that is best with Mad Thinker is Merlin. Other than that, I don't think every other card typically, if it's something to do with your hand, it typically rewards you for having a lesser hand size. Other than probably Devil Dinosaur, which, the meta dominant card that is, kind of just doesn't care.
You know what would make this better? What if it was end of turn instead? End of turn would make it better for like end of game stuff too. Like instead of it being start of turn, like of course.
But that's when you play all your cards.
I mean, yes, but like end of turn, like you could actually play this on turn 6 and get value. It would work with Fantasticar would give it a buff. It also would work with like Moon Girl at the end of a turn. Like, I feel like this would be better for like a Devil Dino deck in that sense if it was end of turn instead of start of turn. But I still think it's kind of like it feels bad. Like I like Moon Girl with this, but like you said too, even like with Merlin, there's a lot of instances where you don't want to clog your hand because you want to draw specific cards or hit specific combos. And I think that's really where the downfall falls with this. So it may not even be changing it to end of turn. I think it just might just be a feels bad and it's kind of already power crept when it came out.
I feel it's not, maybe just power crept is the best way to say it. I just also don't think it's an ability that's like there's not much benefit for it still. I don't know. So it's like, yeah, it does exist, but also what's the point of it? I don't get it.
Yeah, no. But the Ghost Spider change actually is a bigger change than I think maybe a lot of people have thought about. But like this going to 3, there's Cerebro 3 move now with Multiple Man. Multiple Man is getting
I saw
value.
that.
Yeah.
Multiple Man actually inside of the only deck I think I've seen Multiple Man in forever is probably Phoenix Force, and that's it. The fact that it's actually trying to be played inside of some move Cerebro stuff is really wild, and I'm so here for it.
Yeah, and this card itself, like, I didn't think Ghost Spider necessarily needed a buff herself, but like this also gives options not just for move packages, like we're talking about like with the move Cerebro stuff, but like going back to the old Clog deck with like Dagger and everything too. Having Ghost Spider now having that extra point of power can be some immediate impact there. So this is pretty solid. I know like other people have been like testing with this, and with Sparky coming out, that also helps this card too, being, you know, another move card to synergize with this. And then also Nightmare no longer destroys your tempo, which I think is really good and healthy for this, but I don't like facing this deck.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I think your tempo is still destroyed when you play this card, because 1 power for the turn, like that's not tempo. It's rough when if for that still. So when we first talked about this card, remember it was a 2/2 and we were like, this is busted. We now have it at a 3/1, and I'm like, I still don't think it's good.
Well, it doesn't, like, destroying tempo, I mean, in the sense is it's not going to give you negative points on the board. So, like, if you're not, like, losing potential priority playing this opposed to, like, when he was -1.
Fair.
Like, kind of like, but it's different than, like, Mr. Negative. Like, Mr. Negative, you know what is going to swap, and you know this, so you're okay playing that -1 into a different location because you know what's going to happen. Nightmare, you don't necessarily know what your cards are going to swap to. You're going to have those really cool combo plays, and you're going to have those really cool, like, I can snap this now, but, like, you have to kind of, like, snap into Nightmare, kind of like you have to snap into a lot of Hela interactions in order to really min-max here. Do you know how this is performing from the -1 to the 3/1?
I don't know the stats from before, but as of right now, it's still not doing amazingly. It has more popularity as it did just get hit. So, you know, if a card gets hit in an OTA, typically we see some more play done to it. But its win rate is 47%, and it has a cube rate of -0.1. So it's not amazing.
Okay. Now, what about this guy? What about Fenris Wolf going to a 3 cost?
I am so happy Fenris. I said this, I think, like a month ago, I think. Which is one of the things I keep seeing, by the way, especially about this OTA, was content creators saying, I said I wanted insert change here a month ago.
Yeah.
And this one felt like the one that everyone said they called, and just it took forever to happen. This one I think is more than deserved. Fenris Wolf just makes it so you can put a batch of cards like they talked about Negasonic, Gladiator, and Shang-Chi, Cannonball, and just get way too much value out of it, especially without hurting your tempo as a 2/3. So as a 3/4, there's definitely a bigger opportunity cost, which is what Second Dinner said they wanted. But the card has gone down in popularity. However, it still has got a very good win rate.
Yeah, I think this also is a change that needed to be made before the end of this next season. Just because I think like the last season card is really going to have a crazy impact on the meta. And I think this at a 2 cost would have been, okay, well, I drew this late, but I have this card on the board, so it doesn't matter. And I think like that really helps kind of with too much techiness. Granted, there's still a lot of Wiccan tech going on right now. They're just not using Fenris Wolf in that 2 slot. I'm honestly not seeing a lot of Fenris in those Wiccan decks anymore. They're still running some of the other like tech packages. But I do agree. I think this is a change that was warranted. It doesn't necessarily nuke the card. It's kind of like that situation kind of like with Mr. Fantastic First Steps, where it was a change that needed.
That one kind of got nuked though.
That one, it's different because like that is continual every turn interaction kind of thing. So like that went from like being like one of the best cards in the game to just a good card. This, I think, definitely you don't get that original tempo to be like wary of as like, this is on the board, I know this is going to happen kind of thing. But I mean, it's another Surfer card, and like this in like Surfer discard is very interesting. Now you also can play this with Moon Knight and feel better playing this with Moon Knight to be able to dodge.
That's the big thing I think with this change that I expected most out of all the changes. Felt like one that was going to be very simple, very easy. And to be fair, by the way, I will say, at least in terms of the next change, I actually think this was one that people are going to be maybe a little bit upset about, and potentially with another change that I think is immediately following it. But I think both of the next two changes are deserved.
And I think before, like the last card we're going to talk about, I think we're kind of like inferring some stuff here too, which I think Dance and I talked about this not on the app. Some people think the wrong cards were hit when it comes to these changes, but I think Dance and I kind of are on a similar page, and we'll discuss that like when we get to the last card here of the OTA. But the next card, Silver Surfer First Steps, going to 35 is okay. This is good.
I was talking about this one too. There's two different situations I think that have actually happened.
Yeah.
And I agree. Now I know which other one you're talking about, and you're correct, that one. But I also do think this is a different one, which people were a little bit upset. I think I saw people talking about where like, okay, cool, you're gonna buff the season pass card when it's still in the season, and then if you just as a skip forward, because I think it's just kind of there was a topic on both. Fantasticar also went down to a 4/5. So they both nerfed the previous super premium season pass card and then buffed the current. And I actually think this one is extremely deserved.
Yes.
I think that Silver Surfer First Steps kind of just sucked. And also, on the point that it is the current season pass card, within less than a week from when the OTA was being made, this will be in packs.
Yeah, it's like the Captain Carter
care
situation.
About that one. Yeah, exactly.
But
Which, by the way, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
That's a big thing where they've like, that's one of the things that I feel like isn't noticed about the snap pack system is they can just buff these cards sooner because everyone can get them so much easier rather than waiting for that random rotation in the shop because of the snap packs.
Yes, you can get them easier if you have less cards in those snapbacks.
Yeah. But like Silver Surfer First Steps, I would be willing to bet probably wouldn't have gotten buffed for another 2 months if it under the old system.
If it was just a spotlight system opposed to
yeah.
I mean, they could like you said, there's so much more flexibility you have when buffing and nerfing cards. Having the snap pack system, like that definitely is an added benefit. But I've actually been playing this card this week. I wasn't playing this card like at all during like this season until like this week, and I have been using it in another Victoria hand deck with
it's crazy. I know.
Kahori. Getting Kahori value with this card is
fun.
Really cool.
That's a good one.
But
I like that. But then yeah, there's this one, which this is one that this is different from what I was talking before, because I think with this one, I want to see the behind the scenes stats of how invisible in First Steps isn't the problem here. How is fantastic, like throughout the whole season, literally the entire season, it felt like Fantasticar was fine. And just at the end of the season, when you got Invisible as well, and then everything happened twice, and that was insane. That's when the deck seemed to really pop off and be insanely powerful. Not when Fantasticar was there, at least from my personal experience. I don't know. Did you have different things there, or what was that for you?
No, I think this is another situation where I think I'm inferring that we are very wary of what the very last card of Visions of the Future is going to do to all of these activate cards. So they're trying to adjust some of the base power of them. And I also think like Invisible Woman First Steps was incredibly good, and then Cosmic Ghost Rider just came out this week. So I'm very interested to see how the release of Cosmic Ghost Rider has impacted the stats for that card. Because I'm also wondering, like, when they load up these OTAs, are they loading them up and putting them into like the game and stuff a day or two or maybe more prior to new card release? Because if that's the case, they probably also maybe don't have the statistics of new card just came out, this is how it's affecting the meta, but we're also changing this because like I do, of course, this being at a 4/7 was something I thought it should have gone down last season, like to a 4/5. I think the 7 stat line was too good because of just how many different cards. Of course, it's like deck specific thing here, but like this was last season. This season, it's different. Like I feel like End of Turn is definitely not performing the same exact way. now currently with some of the other stuff. There's cards that just go over the top, and the main difference is now people are playing hella like crazy. And if you don't have Stardust right now, more often than not, it's like a pretty rough or losing matchup. Which we'll talk about some of these new season cards from like this or this current season card, because I think some of our current season cards, or at least one of them, may need to also be adjusted. But I think this was warranted last season. I don't know how warranted it is this season, per se. I haven't seen this card as much, but I understand people being upset about this card getting nerfed out as it is now out to the general public. But it's kind of like a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing when it comes to
That's
these
the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, you either hurt, you either don't do it and you leave a card busted, or you do nerf it and then like either way. I think, I don't know. It sucks that these changes be made like on one hand, but on the other hand, I'm gonna also stand by the fact that like it's better than it not getting changed, because if it doesn't get changed, then guess what? We just have unbalanced stuff in the meta. Is that really it sucks like a card getting released and then getting nerfed, but at the same time, I 100% prefer that much to a card that we haven't seen anything for getting a lot of changes. So
and it's like, I'm glad like we're adjusting cards sooner. That is the main thing I'm very glad about, opposed to cards just running amok for ages. And I say adjusting stuff sooner as of in this past month or past 2 months of adjusting cards sooner. Not saying they've been doing that for long term. Like when we think of Loki, we think about like Erishim, we think about like Thanos, like we think about cards like that. But I do think this next change was also very warranted, but I do also agree it wasn't enough.
Is it still not enough? I haven't actually played against this card as much since then, so I cannot say how much this actually felt like it was warranted or not. So I like this change straight up. I thought it was great. I was happy about it, but I also am going to say it sounds like you played against this card and experienced this card more. I may or may not have tanked everything this week trying to figure out a deck I could play 3 Ghost Riders in. So I have no good idea of what the actual meta looks like. I kid you not, actually. I spent from Thursday, no, actually from Tuesday. As soon as I got Cosmic Ghost Rider, I've spent the whole time trying to figure out what I could do with that. And it took me literally until the weekend to figure out a deck I liked. But that's all I was trying to do. But
the deck you were playing, by the way, I really enjoyed, like, and if you guys have not seen the deck Dance is playing, Dance actually just put a YouTube video out about using all 3 of the Ghost Riders in one deck. The Cosmic, the Current, and the past first Ghost Rider, which all of that is going to be on his YouTube channel, which is down in the description below. Same with his Twitch, same with his Twitter. If you guys want to find some amazing dance content, you love what you're hearing here on the app, which you guys should be loving what you're hearing on the app. We're on episode number 56. You guys have been loving this for over a year now. Please check out all of Dance's info, absolutely phenomenal info, and content down in the description below. But when it comes to Juggernaut here, I think the 5 points of power is just still a little bit too much. I think, yes, of course, it doesn't work as well into Surfer now, but there's Surge, there's Zabu, like, there's, like, other ways, of course, cards exist to, decrease the cost of this, but, like, this is still a single game winner, like, a single lane winner, and I think the 5 power, it's kind of like when, Cannonball got changed, spoiler alert, but, like, that 8 power, like, even if you're not killing a card, but you're knocking it away, like, it's one of those situations where it's, like, just a lane winner, and I think it just still adds so much value still at the 5 power. Maybe if it was 4-3 or a 4-4, I don't think it completely kills the card, but like now you can play it not just for its ability, but you also have a good chunk of power now on the board with this card.
Yeah. What is it? The problem with 4-cost cards is the fact that they technically aren't just 4 costs. Yeah. They're like 3.5 because you've got Zabu, you've got like Surge, you've got Mr. Fantastic for Steps who isn't being played, you've got like all these cards that can be played to reduce power, and that one of the biggest costs they typically target is the 4-cost slot. And so it really is like is it fully a 4-cost card or is it not? So I think 4/4 probably would still be warranted for this card, legit. And then that's a big amount of tempo you still have to spend for something that might not end the game. But I don't know. We'll see. It could still, right? It could still. I'm not trying to argue that.
Did you say Fantastic First Steps is not getting played right now?
I haven't seen a high play rate of Fantastic First Steps personally.
He's still getting played, but his play rate is not as high as it was for sure. Like Surge, of course, is way more in that spot. But I'm still seeing him a decent amount because it's still like good stats and stuff. It's just like if you don't have anything else to play on 3, maybe kind of thing. But
Yeah. It's unfortunate. People are playing Festus instead of Mr. Fantastic.
I have seen a lot of that. I've seen more Thanos actually this past week too.
Mm-hmm.
So
I actually did. I've seen some more Thanos as well. So I don't know. It's interesting stuff. But you did put the cart before the horse. Is that the phrase?
I think.
I don't know. Juggernaut's carrying the cart and Cannonball's the one in it.
Yeah, no, and this card definitely, I think, needed a tweak of power, and I think we were right about the tweak of power. But I think more people are like, Fenris took a bullet for Misery. Misery is the issue, not.
Wait, that was a thing?
That's like what I'm seeing is like a general consensus, like it wasn't hit enough.
That's insane.
Like Misery needed to be hit, which like I get the like Misery like because it auto makes it so Cannonball destroys something. They're like Misery should only be allowed to move once per turn, like once.
Oh, you're talking about
turn,
Mercury, not Misery.
Not Misery,
oh,
Mercury.
Gosh.
Well, Misery also That's a different talking point. Misery at a 4/9 is also really crazy that they thought Misery needed a buff, which I think is just freaking crazy. So, I love Misery. I love Misery. I don't necessarily think Misery should be a 4/9, but if you want to keep her 4/9 permanently, I love that. So I'm totally cool with that. But Mercury. The Mercury, people were like, Mercury, like Fenris took a bullet for Mercury. And I still don't think Mercury is the issue in these style decks. I do think it was still Fenris and Cannonball. Yes, Mercury is super annoying, but you know who else is super annoying that I see maybe not as many people talking about is Cerebro. But talking about Cannonball right now, Cannonball went from a 5/8 to a 5/6. Definitely a warranted change, and I think Cannonball is still good at a 5/6.
So the biggest things I saw, and this was a comment I saw echoed by other content creators, but as well as it's one that I just also agreed with. People were saying, all right, how do you make the changes to Mercury? And people said things all ranging from, oh, you don't let it move. Oh, what is it? Or you just make it so it doesn't work with Cannonball anymore. And a lot of that stuff felt like people just being like, I have a problem with the specific interaction, not the card itself. Which I don't think fixes it. And also the fact that even Glenn responded being like, hey, why? Because someone asked, why didn't you move? Why didn't you make it so like you just can't move Mercury? And he's like, you don't know, and you don't know where it would need to be. That sounds really weak and really unexciting. Like, why would you? That just seems boring. And so at the same time, I don't love the Cannonball Mercury stuff as someone who initially thought it was like underpowered and just like a lot. I understand why I'm on the other side now. It took me a bit, but people can learn. People can change their opinions. It's how life works. But I do think that in the end, Cannonball did need the change a lot more so than Mercury, as that's the one that hurts a lot more than everything else, I think.
Mercury is a necessary evil for all of this move stuff that is in the game. If Mercury does not exist, we are in a bigger problem with all the move stuff that's going to be happening this next season, whether it is season pass card, whether it is what is happening currently. Like, Mercury is kind of one of those necessary evils like a Shang-Chi. Like, that is where I am at right now, is I think you need to have a card exist like that in the game. Like, think about Sam Wilson and how good Sam Wilson was prior. Like, Sam Wilson's still good, but I do think Mercury needs to be where it's at in order, because some of these cards need to have counter cards. We maybe need a thing in the future. We're gonna need an energy counter card. Like, I think that's like we're coming to points where like we need some counter cards to this. Not saying it's the best thing ever, but like we needed a Stardust like card. We need a Mobius. We need a Chi. We need a Shadow King. Like, we need to have some of these cards that just exist. And it's not a flaw with Mercury at all. It just really is. It's a tough interaction. Like, it definitely is a tough interaction. But it's not that it's not beatable. It's not like this is completely broken. I have no way at all to counter this. Like, Mercury is a 2-powered card. Red Guardian's play rate was really low for a large majority of this season. Red Guardian is something that can have an immediate impact now, again, especially with what we have going on. Like, there's going to be a need for this, and I think these changes they made were good. I just think maybe the Juggernaut change needed to be a little bit more aggressive. But I think this is a very solid OTA in general, and I've seen less Tech Soup when it comes to that. I've seen more Wiccan, of course, but like, you're not seeing the Fenris.
Didn't you just get an infinite border with Tech Soup?
Kind of, sorta. I got infinite border with Victoria Handlist, which is what I edited it differently than what KM posted. So KM originally had Negasonic. I swapped it for Frigga, and then had, I believe, Fenris, and I swapped it for Zabu. So my tech soup is Shadow King, tech card. Killmonger, tech card. Gladiator, tech card.
Yeah.
Shang-Chi, tech card.
That's
Stardust.
fair. Yeah, there's tech in there. There's also a good amount of Victoria Hand stuff. So
yeah,
it is what it is.
It was hybrid. I'm not saying it was. It's not the same as the first one I got my border with was with the old Juggernaut, and I was using that, but I was doing Moon Girl, Quinjet things to go crazy the first border. But the second one, there's so much Hella right now. There's so much card generation stuff, and like the matchups I had were really good. When it comes to these new cards from the Herald season, which we're gonna go ahead and jump on over to that. Dance, that was actually a really good segue, unintentional, but that was awesome. When it comes to Stardust, like Stardust is one of those cards that is a really it's a situational tech card because it really depends on like what you're facing in your pocket meta. But like in my matchups, specifically on my Infinity Conquest Climb, the first matchup was against Clog. And I went down 10-2, and I came back and won the game. It was a 45-minute long first round of Conquest, and it was a nail biter the whole time. But it was Clog, and then it was discard, Khonshu discard.
Don't do that. No.
Yeah.
I've been playing so much of him. Why would you do this?
So Khonshu discard, which they had the Khonshu the first game, but I had 6 Victoria Hands because we had Carmitage, and I frigged Carmitage, and then I Miseried. I have both those cards mixed up right now. Then I Miseried.
Oh, I died.
Hope
Keep
Dance
talking.
disappeared.
I'll fix that.
Then I had Misery on Carmitage, so I had 6 Victoria Hands on the board, which was just an insane amount of power. And then the next game, I faced a Fire Lord Phoenix Force deck. And I had Stardust, so the multiple man did not duplicate itself. No Fire Lord things. They were playing like Glenn's deck, but like a different iteration of Glenn's deck. But like they had like a couple different lines there. Or no, that was a different deck. No, I was facing Glenn's deck, but I had Stardust to overcome all of the Fire Lord and Phoenix Force stuff. And then the next game, I faced an Agent Venom deck, which was running Quake, and I had back-to-back games with Sandbar. And, Sandbar is a rough counter to my deck, but I had Killmonger, and they didn't know I had Killmonger. So I was able to get into a couple lanes because the Kiln was one of the locations. I was able to get into a couple lanes against Kiln. And then they snapped me again when they played Havoc on turn 4. And I was like, oh, we're actually doing this right now. And that was
for full.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the final game, oh my gosh, the final game, I faced a Destroy deck that was running Enchantress because of Stardust. They had Enchantress and they had Negasonic. And it was crazy.
That's an insane tech to like.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Fair enough. But you still conquered it all.
Because Stardust was like the true MVP into most of those matchups. It was still like situational, but like it was like, well, I need to have Shang-Chi now, but I have Stardust. But like Stardust was an immediate snap condition into a lot of these, and like something I was taking into mind when I was playing these Conquest games is I'm going to snap into these conditions to make my opponent pay to see what card I'm playing. Like this is a combo card that is a win card.
Thing.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, I'm gonna play this combo card, but if you want to see what I'm playing, you're gonna have to stay in this game for at least 2. And pay that 2 to see this combo card, and that's something I was doing better this season.
Smart.
And
yeah, that's really smart. I honestly, if there's anything I should focus on this coming season, it is stuff like that, because I had decks where I had very positive win rate, but the cube rate just sucks anyway because I just don't focus on that at all. But especially considering it's a new season, you always have to grind back up to the top. So I'm gonna focus on that a little bit more. So hopefully. But I mean, so does this make it right? Talking about the review, Stardust it wasn't the last card, but it was one of the final cards of this season. And was it? So is it your favorite, or how did you feel about it? I guess just in general.
I think This is not my favorite card of the season. I think I ranked this card number 2. I think this card might be rank 1 this season if I were to reset. I think Stardust might be my rank 1 card.
That's fair. There was a bunch of other cards, but we should probably talk about those. But then we could still get into that stuff. How do you want to talk about? How do you want to break down the rest of them? Because we do have quite a few. We can go by when they
can go by order.
when-
So like this was first week of the season. So Stardust was first week of the season. We also had Season Pass, First Steps, Galactus. So we have the Season Pass Galactus card. We're like, okay, yeah.
It did exactly what we thought it would do, and it's completely fine. I don't know. It doesn't seem broken. Maybe it's slightly too good, but I think it's probably fine. I don't know. I don't think it needs anything.
No, I think it's been more of a psychology card opposed to a card you're necessarily playing. I think that's like more often than not kind of thing here. Like you're using this in that Wiccan tech list I was talking about. People are running this a lot right now. So I thought this was okay. Season Pass, you get the Season Pass, maybe not necessarily for this, just for the benefits of the Season Pass.
Sure.
Not that one. We have this over here. We have First Step Silver Surfer.
Just get its power.
Yep.
Which at least is finally getting play, right? It didn't really see a lot before. I'm glad. I want them to put the super premium card inside of the missions, by the way. There's no missions for Silver Surfer First Steps.
They have like a bonus set of missions if you have.
Or even just like swap out Galactus sometimes. Or swap out the main card, especially considering they're going to put them. We'll talk about it for the next month, where you can just get it for inside the Series 5 packs.
That would be interesting.
Just to make it so it's not the number 1 card every single week is all I want.
Yeah, I don't know how they would go about doing that. I mean, like, I guess technically, I see your thought process, but I also see their thought process not doing that, because if they put it, even though it is accessible as a Series 5 card in seasonal Series 5 packs, if they set it at the $20 still, like people will still say the $20 Season Pass card is a special this week. I didn't want to pay the extra $10 to get these extra gold kind of thing. Yeah, it's an interesting concept. I don't hate the idea, but like I see what you're saying.
Yeah. But anyway, the card's better. But we also did have 2 Series 4 cards, which in all honesty, these were potentially some of the more interesting cards this season. I think Terrax, who did go from a 3/3 to a 3/4, literally a week after release or whatever, and also Redshift, who I know was your 1 point personal baby. And you even got Fred. You get the ink with the white crackle. There you go.
Yeah, I love Redshift. I played a lot of Black Knight. I played a lot of Agatha Hella. Like I've really enjoyed this card. I think the Series 4 cards this season were better than some of the Series 5 cards.
I'd agree.
Logistically, just better. What they did, like this enabling another archetype and just to go crazy, like straight up go crazy, has been insane. And then Terrax being able to really add value and make Rockslide feel even worse than he already felt was something.
I'm surprised. I did see people still playing Rockslide, by the way, but yeah, I agree. It's a little bit. It's kind of wild how bad Rockslide currently is, but. I've also had plenty of games where my opponent Terraxed 3 cards or 3 rocks into their own deck. So,
oh gosh, that's rough. We then had Frankie Ray,
5,000 IQ,
5,000 IQ because they're running Blob.
Yeah.
This Frankie is a Ray. Series 5 card that I think also could have been a Series 4 card.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I was really sad about this card. It kind of didn't do what I wanted it to do. I don't know. Especially considering the fact that the Zola interaction wasn't intended. That just killed it for me. After that, I just got really sad about the card and just didn't use it.
Yeah, that definitely is unfortunate. I feel like this could have been Series 4 card. There's a lot of cards this season. I heard Dara talking about this on stream. It kind of feels like just slop. Like they just threw some cards in to have cards now in packs to kind of offset maybe good cards. So like you're spending your tokens more to get the card you really want, but you end up getting the slop instead. But I've
said it before that. What was it? I just think that actually, did I say this? I've actually forgotten what I was going to say at this point. Actually, so you should just talk about the next card.
The next card that came out was the Fallen One, which I think Dance and I both had really high on our list for, this could be crazy, this could break the meta, which I mean, like, there's a lot of interactions where, like, you have that extra energy. Yo, that is amazing. Like, that kind of thing. But it's, like, the setup for it.
We were so wrong about this card. Yeah. I think, what I was going to say is, I was so wrong about like half this season of what I thought was gonna be amazing, what I thought was gonna be bad, and I was really off by a large amount on all of that stuff. So I'm honestly kind of happy about that.
Well, it's like we were really hyped about a lot of these cards and what they could do, but we didn't think about we're in a tech meta.
What I was gonna say is this was just my least interesting month. That's what I had said before the month had started. It was just like, It wasn't like, nothing super exciting, nothing super like cool there. Other than I think Fallen One and Frankie Ray, which I don't know. None of these cards really. I don't know. We'll see the staying power here, but
it's just we're in a tech meta, and it was like Dance and I were like, "Yo, these cards are gonna be so good. They're gonna be so fun." But we're in a tech meta, so the tech cards are gonna overcome all of the fun cards. So like there was cool interactions like with this one, and then of course you had this to kind of offset all sorts of things. But then you had Fire Lord, which is another fun card, which I had a lot of fun with Fire Lord. Fire Lord was a lot like when I didn't have Stardust everywhere, when no one had Stardust. Playing Fire Lord felt great. Being able to do Cassandra Nova things. Fire Hair things, Sage things, Phoenix Force things. It felt fun. And then Fun Police just everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
But what did you think about Fire Lord?
I still didn't play that much Fire Lord. Didn't have any issues with it. It was just a fine card. I didn't think it was crazy. I just thought it did what you wanted it on the box to do. I will say, if you talk about Airwalker, I did have a lot more fun with a lot more interesting things I think I did with just in general, just due to this card. But again, Fun Police of Stardust. Marvel Snap won't be the same after these cards came out, like especially some of the tech cards of Stardust. Not to mention the card we did just get this last week, of course, with Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Yeah,
like these changed the face of Marvel Snap.
Yeah, legitimately, like this card does so much. Like people were talking about, the tempo is going to be bad with it being a 5 cost and everything too. But like legitimately, this is just a very solid card. It's like literally Legion Cannonball category. Like if not, maybe just more Cannonball than Legion category. Really good.
I think it feels like more Legion than Cannonball, I think, because Cannonball can do a little more. I feel like it is just like Legion style card where it's like, yeah, this can do good.
Yeah.
But it also like it is situational in what it can do. And I've had plenty of games where this was just a 5/7.
It might be better than so it's not Cannonball category, but I think it's slightly better than Legion category. Like just slightly. No, and Legion is a great card. But I think Legion is a bit more situational than Cosmic Ghost Rider.
I think your hair is looking extra like fluffy there because we're splitting hairs right now, I think. In general, I think the card's probably fine. I was lower on it at first, but it is most likely fine, especially considering I think getting this card out before turn 5 really can matter a lot with this. So I did times where I would lockjaw this card on turn 3 or whatever, and get lockjaw into this card on turn 3, and just shut down a Luna Snow I played in the same lane. Felt very fun.
I think that makes it even more narrow. I feel like there's not necessarily a lot set up going into turn 3 opposed to potentially later. But if you had success with it, that is good. That is good for you.
It's one of the things where we do not have the same experiences in the game, and that's cool, and that's how it works, and that's fun. But yeah, I don't know. Is that all the cards for the season?
Yeah. Because like Airwalker, I've tested a little bit, I think, and it was okay. But it's just the tech cards are the best cards this season. Besides Redshift. Besides Redshift also is. Really
what was your top 3 then though?
Top 3 probably is Stardust, Cosmic Ghost Rider, Redshift.
Yeah, I'd say, I don't know. I definitely feel like the number 1 I'd go for is I don't know. I really had a lower time on this season than just in general. I know I think Airwalker is up there. Airwalker I think is going to be my number 1 actually, and I don't know. I just really wasn't interested in a lot of the other cards. Like Stardust was good. Stardust is just a good card, and I'm willing to accept it. It's not a favorite of mine because, again, it's just tech card. Cosmic Ghost Rider, I had fun because it was Cosmic Ghost Rider, and that's about it. I don't know. Like, I really was kind of low on the season going into it, and I kind of felt it at the end of it.
I think the community's feeling a low from this season in general, so.
But that's why I'm stoked about this coming season.
Yeah, unless you're ready to drop 40,000 tokens this next season. Rough estimate, of course. This is what we got going on for the Visions of the Future. And I want to just, before we jump into, card by card, what do you think about the kind of like current state of like is it called just the snap economy, like a card acquisition, a mix of both?
I think economy is probably the best way to describe it, right? And I feel like cards are cheaper, but the fact that they really I don't know. I'm going to continue like raking in the fact that I was correct about the way that I thought the economy was going to go down. But I don't know. I personally haven't gotten to the place where like I'm low on tokens. I'm still like over 150K. I've bought every single spotlight that appears in my shop. I'm going to buy them all. I want to get to 0. I want to not have this like excess anymore, so I could at least like relate a little bit more to other stuff. Because I've been fine in tokens for so long, especially once they did the swap or whatever. Like I've been fine.
Yeah, I was at a good spot in tokens for like a good long while, and I was getting ultimate variants. Right now, I think I have like 27,000 tokens, which is still potentially enough to get like all the cards this season. Maybe I still have to get lucky. Like the way it is right now, with it being 11 new cards. But 2 of them are season pass, super premium season pass. But super premium season pass, you could also just get with tokens for 5,000 tokens.
That is a new thing, right? So we're just as an aside, Sparky super premium season pass card is going to be available. You can buy it inside of the super premium season pass for the same price. I think you get a exclusive variant. But if you will also just be able to get it in the snap packs same day that Viv and Moira come out.
Yeah, that is the thing, though. Like, if you want to instead just spend it, the tokens on a snap pack, Moira will also be in it the same week. So you're not guaranteed to get just Sparky. So keeping that in mind. And then also, you have Danger as the Deadpool Steiner card. And then we have, it looks like 3 Series 4 cards. As well. And like I'm going into this season not opening for the Series 4 cards. Like I'm trying to just prioritize the Series 5 cards because those are the cards I'm probably going to be playing more. And maybe I'll get lucky and get the Series 4 cards from a Series 5 pack. Is like the general idea I have going into the season, to try and just maximize my token usage more, opposed to just buying every single thing on like day 1.
Yeah. I mean, this is also, I feel like in the heat of spotlights, this is also the similar thing that I even remember talking with you about, where you're like, well, I'm gonna have to roll for some of these. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get this new card. There was some new card I remember a few times where we're just like, don't know if I'm going for it because I just don't have the keys for it. So like, I do kind of think it's still similar math in terms of like getting all the cards. It's just easy. You're getting more cards, but again, you still have to choose some of them you're not going to get. And well, I think there's a level for like content creators, right, where we're like, we want to put out content for all the new cards. I think for also there, I think for the what's it called in top ladders, like Gen Pop, I think, right, for general population. Is that the thing?
Probably.
I don't know. But for the general population, a lot of the cards for this month are, other than a few, like I'd say probably Viv Vision is the most widespread card. A lot of the cards feel like they're going to be very much like cards for certain types of decks. So, as much as there's a lot of, I think
there's a couple that are
maybe there are a few outliers, but in general, as a generalization, that may or may not be 100% accurate. A lot of them feel like they're meant for more specific decks, and so hopefully that does make it so people can just pick and choose the more interesting cards and maybe just try to go for those. Again, coming off of the heels of the Heralds month, which again, I kind of said like maybe 1 or 2 cards I thought was interesting, but in general was a kind of boring month because of just tech cards and just not interesting stuff.
Yes, but I do also want to note something that the Spotlight system just did a little bit better than the Snap Pack system. It wasn't like you missed a week. Now that card is in packs, so even if you want to open for the new card, you could get the old card instead. That's one like just the only.
But that's also like a negative.
That's the only like but like I'm saying like I don't want to get Bastion this week. I only want to get Jim Hammond, so I'm gonna open a snap pack, but I still could get Bastion or a card I skipped from the month prior, opposed to like the Spotlight keys. They're not in that this week. That's
so wait, what are you saying?
So I'm saying like if
Are you saying
I
Spotlight Keys you liked that bit or the
no.
the snap packs?
I like Spotlight Keys more in the sense if I'm skipping a couple weeks, I can wait until this Spotlight week now and I have the keys to open, opposed to Snap Pack weeks. I've skipped 3 or 4 cards. I'm opening this seasonal Snap Pack now.
Got it.
Which,
okay.
of course, you can target a card specifically for 6,000 instead of for 5,000. But if I wanted to save, let's say, that 1,000 tokens, my likelihood of getting the brand new card isn't as high because I've skipped the past couple weeks.
I feel like that's rose-colored glasses, like looking at the past. I don't know, because like, yes, you're correct that technically that is true, but you also it's a 1 in 4 chance. That would technically, if you had to like 25% chance, you have to spend all 4 keys, which would be equivalent, as we've learned, 12,000 tokens. Or going into a lesser amount where it's like, hey, you do get it in 1, and that is a technically better thing. You get it first try. That's cool. Or there's also a situation where people miss a week or 2 because of just real life or just other obligations, and they come back and now they can't get the new card in keys at all because people didn't have like tokens before.
But I'm saying like you're skipping specific weeks. So like let's say you skipped an entire month.
Yeah. But also, what I was trying to say is that, yes, that's correct for, I think, this specific argument. But also, there are people who I think were in the inverse, where they wanted cards, couldn't get them. And then now Snap Packs have allowed them to get them, to, like, pick them up easier. But whereas with Spotlight Keys, they had to wait 3 months or something like that until they showed back up in caches. Or sometimes they just didn't show up, as we learned at the end of them. But, like, I get what you're saying. I'm just also, like, there were people who were in the inverse camp.
Yeah, there are people in both camps, and it would have been better just to get the card outright for 6,000 tokens either way, opposed to gambling with the keys or with packs. Like, that is the, like, definite, like, what you should do instead of trying to open with keys or open with packs is, of course, getting it with 6K. And, like, what's great is, you know, we do have that as a feature. Like, it is the brand new card of the week, spend 6K, opposed to having to wait for it to rotate. That's, of course, one of like that's where like where Snap Packs are better is, yes, you missed 2 weeks and you weren't able to get the card, but it's now in the Snap Packs. And let's say you are collection complete, that's the only card that's going to be in the Snap Pack for you. It's both ways. I think in general, if we really want to be like fully transparent, both ways are ways to get cards. But I wish there was even maybe another way to get cards, which I think is what they're trying to do with some of these like targeted packs, like the Destroy targeted pack, the Discard, the X-Men, like the Move pack and everything too. But they only run those at the end of the month. Like, I wonder if there's a world where they could actually really start to run those like once every single week kind of thing. Maybe that would help.
I feel like as more time goes on, more of that would be really awesome, because I do think that those... Again, it's not like this. It's different types of targeting than we do get, which I think that more of those in general, I think would be good. Straight up, I think that's because again, this is only the 2nd month of those, right? Or is it third? I don't know. It's still early, and I feel like them doing these targeted Snap Packs. So I definitely want some more of those for them to experiment more and figure out more so what they would like to do in terms of that type of balance.
Yeah,
but
there's so many cards.
Dude, that was a random bit of yapping before we actually talked about the brand new card. By the way, isn't even accurate according to this, right? It's a
3-2 actually, but it's just like FOMO is 100% going to really start hitting this season if it didn't hit already last season, and that's why we're already losing a lot of people too. And like they're adding cards. Like adding cards is good if the cards are like genuinely good, kind of thing.
Last month could have skipped, would have been pretty great. I don't know. Then you have to, I guess what, if you skipped last month and you didn't want those cards, wait 1 more month, I guess, because then you can get the Spotlight, or you can get all the Snap Packs in October, and then you get all the good cards that from this month, all the fun ones here.
Yeah, there's a lot to go on and a lot to think about, and not enough resources in the game.
That's how like mobile economies are meant to be, right?
Yes.
It is meant to be confusing. It is meant to legitimately be confusing so that you can't fully break down the easiest and best way to do it. Because as soon as there is an optimization, there's a way to optimize out of fun, and then the game becomes less fun. And that's a whole it gets into a whole bunch of stuff there. So it's meant to be confusing, and also because it just makes mobile games more money when they don't make it an easy breakdown of the economy.
And I just wish
it's harder to spend.
Snap would have done that 2 or 3 years ago, opposed to waiting 2 or 3 years ago to start this more type of system. Because I think that's the other thing that people feel bad about, like where it's heading now. Yes, is like the general idea of a mobile game, like this, like is like the concept. But if Snap had done this from the get-go, I think people would feel less bad about it than.
But it did, right? God, this is such an aside, bro. This is gonna be a long episode. Anyway, I'm down. They initially did, and neither one of us was there for it, if I'm not mistaken. But it was Nexus events.
And they fixed the Nexus events from then, and then we didn't see anything really like that for at least another year or so.
And then they added the lower count thing, which was spotlights. Mm-hmm. Then now they're on snap packs. So it's like, God, there's such a, I don't know. To be fair, those are the 3 different types of acquisition we've kind of had, right? And I guess there was a brief period of time before Spotlight, in between spotlights and what is it? Because we could just use tokens for a bit, right?
And there was like a 0.001% chance or something you could get it from a regular cash.
That's how I got Galactus. Mm-hmm. I actually got Galactus from a regular cash.
That's actually crazy.
I was happy with it.
I got Dazzler.
I remember when they first. Anyway, I remember when they first did the big thing where they were like making this big changeover, and I was like, okay, I don't like this. This doesn't seem great. As someone who like pretty much has all the cards, wasn't stoked by it. Came back away from it. I'm like, okay, well, technically I am now getting more cards. But also I remember I made a point to like, because you could like aim where your spotlight chests would be, because it would be spotlight chests, wouldn't even be keys. So you could aim where they would be. You would know that in advance, and then you could just hold and just wait, and then you pick those up instead.
Yeah, because that was for spotlight keys, and then also every 120 CL you were supposed to be able to get a Series 4 card. Like there was something like that. Like there was a likelihood of getting that. Yeah. But like I think another thing that would just really help the game right now, if we're getting all these influx of cards too, is like series drops. I think series drops would help with some of the over flooding into some of these packs too. Of course, it'd be hard to do it like with the seasonal snap packs, but it would be better for like the general like Series 5, Series 4 snap packs to get something like that. But there's so much going on like behind the scenes and everything too. Like we haven't had drops in a while. Like there's all sorts of different stuff. So I'm interested to see where their heads at. You know, we haven't seen a roadmap or anything in a long while either.
A big thing. None for 2025, I don't think. But there was also a recent Team Answers post where someone actually asked about this, and they said, we've seen a significant increase in the number of cards that are being released month per month. I think the question was asked, by the way, 2 days ago. Okay. 3, 4. I don't know, recently. But the pool of Series 5 and Series 4 cards is being expanded by approximately 8 to 10 cards per season. By the way, Glenn is... I was listening to the Snapcast earlier, and they were talking about how I think Alex said he wanted a Alpha Flight season, and Glenn looked at him and said, if you can name 10 cards or 10 characters from Alpha Flight, deal.
Wow.
So it's like Alex couldn't, but also that kind of gives you an insight of like per season they're thinking like 10-ish cards.
Yeah.
As a thing, which I thought was an interesting note. But what is it? So, and then the person continued asking. Also, the current player base is struggling to keep up with new additions, even by grinding a lot, due to the limited resources a player can acquire just by playing a game. Based on the current situation mentioned above, are you planning for a big series drop in the near future? If yes, do you have a rough estimation? If series drops are out of the picture, are you considering to address the issues in some other way? Love to hear this. And Griffin responded, we're aware that new and returning players are struggling to catch up, and we're working on ways to help with that issue right now. Series drops aren't out of the pictures, but there are other ways we can help these players catch up than just series drops. So
the bundles last week that got leaked into the game.
Those ones, right? Where it's like, where they were like not intentional, but they were also like
4 Series 5 cards for $50, and then there was
the best deals I think out there.
Yeah, it was one of the best deals you could get. It just is $50. And then I think it was like, was it $30 for 2 Series 4 packs or something?
Something like that. I saw a variety of them. Yeah. And I reading that announcement because I keep attention to this stuff. What is it? Some special offer test bundles errantly went live at reset and have been removed. Their contents and assets were not finalized and are intended to be targeted at new or returning players. We're excited to bring these kind of super value deals to players in the near future. they said no one would have any issues, and sorry about the issue. I wish they had just owned it.
Yeah.
I wish they had just been like, you know what? We meant for this to be a different thing, but y'all have it. Just maybe you don't even say that. I don't know. Just don't even tell us that it was a mistake. Just be like, hey, here are these. They're here for 24 hours. That's it. I don't know. Like, there's FOMO. There's been FOMO in mobile games. Okay, new stuff. But like, just at least let it. Just they had left it. It could have just been seen as a win. But second, they couldn't even give them a free win. They couldn't even give themselves a free win by just saying, enjoy it.
Which people would have actually bought that too, like if they wanted to spend money, because if your collection complete, that is 20,000 tokens you could have had. Like so, like it very just is interesting situation. But we've done all this yapping about the preview, but we haven't actually talked about the cards itself. Which, like Dan said, the brand new season pass card is going to be Viv Vision, which is actually a 3-cost 2-power card at the start of each turn. So at the start of each turn, kind of like
not start.
Like Kitty
it was
Pryde.
data mine at end of turn.
Yep. But it's at the start of each turn. Give all cards in your hand +1 power if you are winning here. Otherwise, move this to another location. I do believe this will happen before card draw.
Makes sense. Yeah, it's typically when they do. And the only reason I think that Mad Thinker specifies is because you just want to know his. No, actually, no. His specifies because it's after that trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for what it's worth, this is a cool ability straight up. They removed the end of turn from it because, I mean, I'm just assuming it would have been busted with Invisible Woman, who isn't the problem, but asides and all that. But I feel like this card is going to be. I'm hoping it's going to be fun. I'm hoping Viv is going to be a sick card.
I think it's pretty good. I think like the starting power is a little low, so you kind of like have to really play into like having priority like into that lane, or like really playing a lot of power into that. Kind of like they're doing a lot of this kind of like with Galactus First Steps kind of is similar. Of course, Galactus First Steps was end of turn opposed to this being start of turn. But another thing that this just screams to me is that we are going to be seeing a lot of Scream. And also, like, if this card continues to move every single start of turn, of course, that protects some of your other cards from getting hit by Scream. But if this card is a constant negative power on the board, that'd be also a pretty big feels bad.
Yeah, that's a fun one. I hadn't thought about this, how good Scream is going to be against this.
Yep.
So that's going to be a very interesting just setup there. I like that shout. But it's also just an interesting ability that I think is I'm glad it's a 3/2. At least it is worse statted than like a Nakia or whatever, especially considering it does potentially grow. But the biggest thing I think I love is what you mentioned earlier, like the Galactus First Steps thing, or even Silver Surfer First Steps, or Iron Patriot, where they are making locations and playing to them early matter. They're making the first few turns matter, and I'm liking that we're getting more of these. I feel like we still want a few more for us to hit that sweet spot so that the whole game matters. But I'm loving this type of design. I love this type of card. I think it's really cool, really interesting, and technically, it also has some fun synergy. I think with the Super Premium Season Pass card that I don't really care about that synergy. I don't think it's gonna be great, but I do think there's a way, especially considering the way Sparky works, that Sparky and Viv Vision are actually meant to go together.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a world where they go together, but I think there's also other different ways to play this, which one of them I'll talk about with Rez. Rez Snapper brought up a really good point with Sparky itself, which you guys do not know Sparky is. Sparky is a 2-cost, 1-power card. Activate. Give your card that last moved +3 power and move it back to its previous location. It's not moved last turn. It's not any other thing. It's just the specifically card that moved last does get moved back to where it originally was, and also gets +3 power in the way of like the way it would work with Torch, or it's kind of like with Aranya. Torch would get that 3 power and then double after its move interaction succeeds. That's how that works.
Yeah. So, I mean, those two working together, I think, is an interesting synergy that I don't know if how many people have actually thought about or messed with, or at least messed with in terms of deck building, because we obviously have not played with the card yet. But I like the stuff they're doing with these two cards, just each individually, potentially together. I don't know. There's fun ways, kind of in the same way that I guess Galactus First Steps and Silver Surfer First Steps could technically work together. Yeah, they technically can, but also there's going to be other ways. I feel like that their compatibility between those from the Herald season is going to be similar to the Visions compatibility season.
But better. I think this is more compatible than...
yeah.
And also, getting Viv to a 3-5 is, like, really solid. Like, it really can help you, I think, win lanes a bit more.
No, 3-5 is amazing.
Yeah. I do think Rez thought about this, and I hadn't thought about it. This is a really good card for Sam Wilson's shield.
Oh, that's a fun shout. Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. That's a really good shout that I hadn't thought about. That's amazing. Yeah, no, that's sick.
So the shield getting the buff and getting Sam and potentially Cap even another buff on top of that is really interesting.
That's really big because also just the fact that because typically you're getting 3 buffs on Sam a game.
Yep.
Because you play him in a different location and it moves to his on 3, move away, then you go. Maybe it's only 3 you get. I don't know. But it gives you basically another trigger, which is a big deal, and I love that.
Yeah, it could be good for like a Ravonna style deck too. Like, you don't have to necessarily play this out on curve to get the value. We can play it a little bit later.
Yeah, you got Madam Web as a way to do that too.
Madam Web, and even like if you play this on turn 5, you can activate this on turn 6 and get the value for moving stuff around. So like, I think this card has more play, and I think like when it comes to some of these, Series 5, super premium pass cards, like Surfer First Steps was and then is now okay. I think she's okay at a 3-5.
Yeah.
And then Fantasticar was good from release and fit into like one style of deck, maybe 2 styles of deck. It still is in turn, whereas this feels like a more flexible card than the other 2. And things that can add kind of value. Of course, it's still move-centric, and this only happens if a move does happen. But you're not really playing, Human Torch and Sam Wilson in the same deck. Like, you can play this also in, like, a list that Dance is going to be talking about here in a little bit. Like, there's a bunch of different options. You could play it in a Zorn. You could play it in a Red Wing. You can play it in, like, even, like, what would be really crazy? Like, Cerebro 3... With this, you're already running Madam Web with your Ghost Spider and your multiple man. So you could move your bro and then get your bro back to 3 power. So you get that with Sparky for Cerebro 3 value. So like there's a bunch of different ways, which that's actually gonna be really good. Or like as an option. I think Sparky could totally fit in that list potentially. For more multiple man.
I'm not gonna lie. That feels like cope.
It could be cope.
If you don't get, I feel like it's more likely to be cope though because of the fact that it's exactly one card in that entire deck you kind of want it to hit, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't mean to. I burst your bubble.
It definitely is still cope, but it gives you a potential other out. Like maybe if you don't even have the bro too.
That's the thing. I like that angle. That's like more of a real angle there where you can try to go for it. Then you just do some big stuff with just moving all of your multiple men around the board. I think that has more of a real chance. I think with that
probably got more legs. Like that's definitely more of a niche kind of interaction to get the Sparky into the Cerebro 3. But I think it's going to work in some of the shells that we're going to be talking about here. But the next card also releasing on Tuesday is, well, we have a lot of cards actually released on Tuesday, but the next Series 5 card releasing on Tuesday, which Dan and I will be going over the decks that we have for all 3 of these cards after this as well, is Moira X. And what does Moira do, Dance?
Well, as I've heard, I don't know why, I feel like she's the one card, by the way, out of every single card that I think we've had data mined or heard about, she's the one I've heard the most lore about, or the same thing over and over again. Because, I don't know, people love the lore, right? That it really matches. Apparently, when she remembers her, like, past lives, and so if she dies, her memory goes back, like, whatever, 2 minutes. And I've heard that 19 times, so I'm going to say it so everyone who's here and hasn't heard it yet hears it for the first time, or you get to hear it for your 20th time. But anyway, as a 1/2 Moira X, when this is destroyed, get a copy of your opening hand, which I think has a lot of interesting potential there. And I feel like there's one place where a lot of people's brains are immediately going to, but I also think there's a few other options just in there as well. So I'm excited by this.
Yeah, I'm thinking of her in Victoria hand, but like realistically, she is a placeholder in Victoria hand until the Series 5 card that comes out the following week takes her spot in that list. So she's a just placeholder because she is niche.
Let's talk about these
specific.
cards.
Yes.
Let's talk about these cards for a second here, because we also have decks for each of them that Tuck and I have each made, as we always do. At least for the Series 5 cards, we don't really care about the Series 4. Sorry, we're lame like that. But which one are we starting with? Yeah. I mean, for Viv Vision, listen, this is what I want for hand buff. All right, I'm gonna keep pushing on hand buff for some reason. This is a deck I love the fact that when this was really good with Surge and Mr. Fantastic, which by the way, Mr. Fantastic is notably not in this list for steps, but when this is when that deck was really good, I remember hearing people so annoyed at this deck because they just couldn't. You don't know how much power they're putting down.
Yep.
And that's exactly what I love about this deck. It's a fun one. I really enjoy it. So this is one that I'm personally excited about.
Dance and hand buff. Who would have thunk it?
I don't know. It's next thing you know, you'll be making a Black Knight deck, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm making a Black Knight deck this season.
No, you'll find a way.
I'll find a way. I'll find a way to make something go on. But I think this does make a lot of sense with like the hand buffing stuff, and the unknown power is also really good. What cards do they get in their hand this turn? What cards do they get in their hand the next turn? I think that's going to be interesting. With Mysterio, too, it's probably a card you're not necessarily playing out on curve to help with the Viv. So it'll be interesting kind of see what lanes you play Viv into. But like Chavez hitting Viv is amazing. Really helps you get that extra tempo to be able to get that buff continually. Same with like Fastos, Nakia even hitting it. It's like you don't necessarily, with this deck, have to play Viv on curve, because you're really wanting to play Viv with this deck when you're going to be like winning a lane to be able to get the value. So like that's something to note here. But I think this is also a card sometimes like in a Wiccan list, people are going to play this in a Wiccan because it's just an okay 3 cost to play. Kind of like
part of I think what I'm going to be okay with this card, where it's also like, this is just, it's going to give you good rates, and if your opponent ignores it, then you get the value. And if they do ignore, and if they don't ignore it, then you also don't have to like commit everything into that lane, I don't think.
Yeah.
So gives you a little bit of 50-50 there, which I do think is going to be pretty powerful.
Yeah, no, I agree. I decided to do Scream with Viv Vision and having Hydra Stomper in here too, because you have it as another kind of like Silk. You have kind of those to like mess around kind of thing here, which I like. And also opponents are going to be playing Viv, so you have that value with Scream. And if a card moves to Viv's lane, or if Viv moves, Batroc follows Viv, so they're always potentially moving to contest there. So like a bunch of different options and like power. Of course, this is old Cannibal too. They haven't updated on Snap.fan to a 5/6. But Craven
is
things.
There no Sparky here?
Not in this list, no. In this list, we have Craven, Spider-Man, Silk, and Viv. There's a world where maybe you could do Sparky, but I think the Craven value still, maybe if you drop Spider-Man for Sparky, maybe. It just
would be
interesting.
Answer,
yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, I think this is gonna be move is gonna be a fun one. I'm down for a little bit of move to start back. I don't feel they put a bunch of move cards out in the game at the same time.
Yep.
I'm down for just a little bit of move just to have some fun with. We'll see how good it is with these two. How I like the big note that Viv is like potentially again really good inside of the move deck, or is that not gonna be the right play? Like how much value you're getting off that move bit. It's the stuff about the new card, right? That it's always just interesting to mess with. Be like, how much are you like? What's the correct way to utilize this?
Yeah, no, I think that's totally fair. But we keep going on the move train, as we do have Dance's Phoenix Force list as well.
I mean, I liked your idea for moving multiple man, so this just felt like the correct answer entirely. I felt very happy about just the idea for going for multiple man stuff. Human Torch, of course, really hurting the fact that it's a 3-cost here. Again, I'm gonna stand by the fact it made sense. Even if I don't love it, it does make sense that the 3-cost card is the one that can scale best out of the 1, 2, and 3. But it does still hurt.
I'm glad you don't have.
And then of course we have. Yeah, and then we still have, the 5-cost Spider-Man 2099 that can only destroy 1 card an entire game.
Poor 2099. But what I do really like here is, like, I made a list like this and Buy or Bust this week, and, like, with Torch is, like, when you get him into Phoenix Force form, you can move him on turn 6 freely, and then Sparky him back to where he was to get even more extra move value for a bigger Zola play, which I thought is really interesting. Also, you could do Nimrod on 5 into Symbiote Spider-Man, and then you could also Ghost Spider that, and then Sparky that back into this other spot, and you get an additional 3 power before it gets destroyed. Like, there's a bunch of different lines you can really mess around with. Having Sparky here as an activate, which is really cool. And, of course, the new Ghost Spider, the 1/3 Ghost Spider. Like, there's a lot of just really cool things that I think Phoenix Force definitely is going to have a good home with Sparky. It just is going to be how much Stardust do you see in your matchups.
Why would you like? Let's not. Stardust doesn't have to exist. It's fine.
I went with a move bounce kind of shell here, where people really aren't playing the traditional move bounce too much at the moment since the changes to Torch. But I think Sparky kind of helps that a little bit in order to get that extra move and be able to have another card to have Frigga. Also, Sage Sparky stuff. Like, there's a lot of different ways I like using Sparky here to help more with bounce. Being able to move cards out of lanes where your opponent maybe thinks you would be bouncing, but it goes back to its original spot for you to bounce it up, I think is going to be really cool having that as an option, because it's not always, I'm playing everything back into Madam Web, but, I could play a card here, Ghost Spider, and then go back to the original spot to get bounced. I think will be really interesting to kind of mess around with this list.
Yeah, I like Move Bounce is a fun deck that's definitely fallen off a little bit, but I'm hoping, I wanted a little bit of Move Bounce. It's a fun deck. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I would like a little bit, just saying. Not picky, but.
The next list we have is Dance has a Moira Dormammu list over here.
Yeah, with Morgan Le Fay, because I kind of like this idea where if I'm destroying a deck, or if I'm destroying a card, what am I going to get the value out of? And I'm not going to lie. I think the list that you're going to show is probably going to be potentially a better one, but I still like thinking of weirder stuff here. And if I feel like there's a way I can go differently, I'm going to try it. And so Morgan Le Fay Dormammu has been a fun deck that I've actually messed with. It's a deck that, because I haven't played a lot of bounce, even with Mary Chavez, I played a little bit with it. Still feels a little weak, but Morgan Le Fay Dormammu in like a deck together with Airwalker, I legitimately felt like my brain wrinkling at times. It hurt, the way Move Bounce used to make me hurt. And so I played it for a bit, and it was a fun time. It's not enough that I could do anything. It's a deck I don't think I could play on the street, because I just sit there like, and if for audio, it's like I'm just moving my eyebrows. That's it. I'm just like, I don't, and I just have to count it all out. It takes forever. And that's what I was doing. But anyway, I thought that might be a fun thing. And also, especially with the fact that the Bullseye I liked, because you can, for one, activate early if you would just like to get the Morgan Le Fay value. But also, if you destroy Moira on the final turn, and then somehow have a way to play Morgan Le Fay as well, like with a Venom onto Airwalker Moira, you then could double your opening hand, depending on how cheap it was. You're guaranteed to always have the first skill of Dormammu in your hand, in your opening hand, so you have a guaranteed 1-drop or a 0-drop there. Then Bullseye turns that into a -2 on the board. So there's you see how my brain's potentially reaching, grasping at straws here, but it's reaching, it's trying.
There's definitely something going on here.
And whether or not it's good is a different conversation.
I see the vision. I do see the vision, but it is very, very interesting. For certain. I like the fun aspect of this deck. I think this will be very fun.
I'll take that. But show off the list that's probably going to be even better than that.
I have a Victoria Hand kind of tech list right now, which I was running the other day at the time of this, where I had Gladiator in the Venom spot, and I had Zabu in the Moira spot. You have Killmonger and you have Venom as ways to destroy Moira. If you don't end up destroying Moira, there's just power on the board for you. I don't really want to have Carnage in this list. You could argue putting Nico in here for that potential of Nico Destroy could be a case, but this is kind of just like Victoria Hand, kind of tech shell, and just kind of going from there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty interesting, pretty fun. We'll see what happens here, but I think this is probably going to be one of the better places that you're going to be running Moira. And this list has already, I think, changed once or twice from when you first showed me it. So I'm excited for, again, wherever like you're probably going to be landing with, whether it's this or whatnot, because I've been loving the thought process and seeing this deck evolve and change, because Moira X is hopefully going to be pretty interesting. It's a card I think a lot of people are really excited for that I don't know if it's going to be powerful. So we'll have to wait and see on that bet.
Yeah, it might be a little copium. Originally, I had Lady Deathstrike in here, which I think there's a world you could put Lady Deathstrike in here and set up Moira on like turn 4. To get Lady Deathstrike on turn 5, but it'll just be about playing around certain circumstances. Maybe Chi goes out because we maybe don't necessarily need Chi because we have Shadow King and stuff. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there, because we're about to jump back into the other cards, because there's a lot more cards coming out this season.
For what it's worth, though, because you're actually gonna be like doing that live, as you did mention earlier. If y'all didn't know, over on twitch.tv/Tucker, later today when this video is going live at Reset, he will be on the Twitch front page.
Yeah.
Okay? Go over there. He's going to be hitting Infinite day 1, guaranteed. Technically not guaranteed. And he will be hitting Infinite day 1, guaranteed. And you'll be messing with this list, probably maybe a couple others, just trying to see what he can do to get to Infinite. And it's going to be a fun time. He's going to be streaming for like 8 hours. So y'all best be giving him some love, giving him some support. Because I know my man's gonna need it if he's gonna be trying to play Snap for that long. Because I do enjoy Marvel Snap. I actually checked. I was like, I think I played 12 hours this week. Yeah. And I enjoy it. But let me tell you, I don't play. Proud of you. But I don't play 8 hour. I don't play. That in 8-hour segments. So I take my time. So make sure you're giving him love and support. He's gonna be needing it over on twitch.tv/Tucker. And guess what? He's gonna be putting up the highlights of some of that stuff over on YouTube. This YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Tucker. He also posts again on the tweets, on the TikToks, TUCCRR, and all those places. He's a great guy. Good enough that he's going to be commentating the Golden Gauntlet.
Yeah,
pretty
you
cool.
are too. I mean,
second round of
you
qualifiers.
gotta be pretty cool too if you're commentating it, right?
Yeah, but you already did your shout out for me. So go ahead and give him all your love you can. Subscribe,
can only be cool during
follow.
Shout-outs, I guess. All right.
Yeah, that's how it works. No, dude, I was actually talking with a buddy of mine this week, and I was complimenting him for something. He's like, "Thanks. I don't know how to take compliments." And I'm like, "Yeah, I feel that, bro. I don't know how to do that. That's just, I don't know why. I just never learned how to take a compliment legitimately. I just have to move on to the next subject." So speaking of the next card,
do you know how to take 7 power away from the highest cost card in one lane?
I'm hoping it's with Omega Sentinel.
It is. It is with Omega Sentinel, the 4-cost, 3-powered activate card. Afflict the highest powered, not cost, highest powered enemy card here with -7 power.
You said here. This works anywhere on the board.
Oh, I actually didn't know it was global.
Yeah. I need to make sure that was clear, because this Omega Sentinel, yeah. Oh, he's learning right now, chat. He's, gears are turning.
Okay. Wow.
This is a good card. This is a really good card. And you were talking about how you thought the card that we're going to talk about for next week for Series 5 is going to be one of the best cards for Cerebro 3. And whenever we get there, I want you to tell me, because I don't think you can do both Omega and that card, which one you think you should be running in that deck. But don't get there yet. Omega Sentinel's going to be a really fun card. This card's going to be really good. This is one that I think is it's just a very, very solid card. Kind of similar to the way that we do have, actually, I'd argue, in relation with White Tiger. White Tiger has her Tiger that goes elsewhere and just does that elsewhere. However, the Omega Sentinel is, for one, can be anywhere on the board, which is a big shout. And for 2, is, again, the inverse where it just hurts your opponent. And it's an activate, so it's a little bit more restricted until we get to the final week of this season.
Yeah, I think the main thing is this card is going to be okay to potentially, like, good until the last card of the season comes out. That's really going to tell for this card.
We'll get there when we get there. I'm going to hold, but, like, there's a lot of these cards that they're releasing. Like, this is an activate season.
Yes. Just like last September.
This is exactly. We talked about. Didn't we talk about this like a month or 2 ago? Anyway, it's gonna be interesting to see how well activate feels as we came off of a bit of a, like, we're off of this like end of turn. Feeling. It's gonna be interesting for the activate stuff just immediately. But yeah, this is a really good card. You didn't realize it was here?
I didn't realize it was global, which that definitely boosts it up a little bit for me. But we'll talk about, rankings and stuff a bit later. As we do also have Awesome Andy, which is an activate 2-cost 1-powered card. Give one of your cards at each other location +2 power.
I am so stoked for Awesome Andy. Awesome Andy is in the same breath. Let me just make sure I get this all in the same breath. I am so stoked for Awesome Andy. Awesome Andy is going to suck. It's just... Why are they... This is just like a worse version of one of Herbie's things, and Herbie is not even great currently.
It's better than
fine for a second,
though.
They're that scared of putting power on, like, 2-cost cards giving power that currently the only good options right now is, like, it's a Koye, and then we have Awesome Andy, and then for some reason right next to him, Forge. Let me just tell you, by the way, this is the same statted card. They consider this card an equivalent power cost value to Surge.
That's true. 2-1, 2-1. They're so similar because Surge is limited to giving you, +4 power through the course of the game. I mean, 3, 4, 5, yeah.
And not even counting cost discounts.
Everyone's running Mobius in every deck ever since he got to a 3-4. Just wait till we get 3-5 Mobius.
Please,
it's gonna be like Electro. They're like, well, we buffed this card, but we need to make it better. Well, we buffed this card, we need to make it better.
Gosh. Anyway, I really want Awesome Andy to be okay, but it really does feel like this card is just... This should be a 2-2 at minimum. 2-3 maybe, you could even argue, but especially with the activate ability. Like, bro, Fenris Wolf was a 2-3. Fenris Wolf was a 2-3.
But you had to destroy something. Or discard something.
You have to... And then you get that much... I don't know. It's insane to me that the differentials here. I don't know. Again, maybe I shouldn't be comparing cards to other cards, but I just don't see why Second Dinner is scared of this card.
Awesome Andy's too awesome for them. Just like this next card. Which is going to be
This is the one that we've referenced like 19 times, talking about what's going to be changing to Cerebro 3, even more than Mega Sentinel potentially. You want to hit it off?
And Victoria Hand. We have Bastion, which is a 4-cost 3-powered card. On reveal, add copies of your other cards here to your hand. Set their cost to 2 and their power to 3.
I know you and I both watched the X-Men 97 show, and the fact that this is just literally just turning everything around him into Sentinels is such a cool ability. Yep. I really do love it. It is just such a big flavor shout. I mean, spoiler alert for next week. One of us is going to be talking about Cerebro 3. The other one of us is talking about Victoria Hand. I might steal Victoria Hand because he got it this week, but I feel like that's 90% of like what Bastion's going to be done with. Are you okay? That wasn't that funny.
This man stealing Victoria Hand, even though it's been like my main deck for like the past 3 weeks.
And I played it before. I was one freaking out about her when she came out. All right, I've let you have like 9 weeks in a row. All right, I'm just asking for one.
That's okay.
The one that maybe you're more.
You can have the one. I might do something a little bit different.
this is he's not doing Hero anymore because I said it. Anyway, Bastion's fun. Bastion's gonna be a sick card. It's so much fun. I'm stoked. I don't even know if it's gonna be great. I feel like it will be, but I'm also. We said that about Fallen One, and I'm want to hedge my bets a little bit better. And be like, I think it's going to be great, but I'm also not going to say it's going to be great. You know what I mean?
The difference with Fallen One, though, is you had to set up a lot more to get Fallen One value, where with Bastion, it is legitimately, boom, this is going to happen, whereas like Fallen One, I have to get this buff, I have to set this up. You still have to set up like cards to copy stuff, but like it's not reliant on energy. You don't have to like set up your deck to be like, oh, well, if I do get this to happen, this huge combo energy play, I do this. But I do see what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, it's going to be a fun card. I'm stoked for this guy. I loved the way he was. I'm just thinking about
You made a concept card for him, one of our like first couple episodes of Marvel Yap.
I remember. Speaking of concept cards that we may or may not have made, am I right about the next card? Did I get it right?
No, you did not get it right.
Shoot. Is it the one after?
It will be the one after.
This is a Series 5 card?
Yes, this is a Series 5 card. Jim Hammond, Human Torch, which is a 1-cost 2-powered card. At the start of each turn, +1 power for each bonus energy you have.
I honestly didn't realize this was a Series 5 card. I thought this was Series... Oh my gosh, yeah, because Super Adaptoid, who we'll talk about here in a little bit, that's Series 4. I've honestly thought that the Super Adaptoid was Series 5 and this was Series 4.
No, this is Series 5, and it is better than Mad Thinker. It is better than Nicholas Scratch. Like, it is one of the potentially best one-drops coming out.
Fallen One? When? Dude, this is if we're talking about Fallen One payoff, by the way, that's if you put this behind like a Cosmo in front of this too, you just turn this into a 1/22 easy.
Yep. Fallen One, Hope Summers, Jennifer
They
Kale,
talked about
Psylocke,
Airshim and Wiccan.
Wiccan. Yep.
But I honestly Airshim, no, because it's only a +4 technically at the end of the game, right?
And so 1/6 seems pretty good.
Yeah. But I like the Wiccan angle better because technically it applies to that turn, I believe.
Well, this is at the start of each turn. So
it is at the start.
So, like, this is the First Steps Wiccan deck. So you add your First Steps Silver Surfer to this, and you play that in the Wiccan lane. So then you get +4 with this card every turn.
There you go. That's the answer. Yeah. Okay. It's gonna be fun. But the biggest thing about this is that it's a 1 cost. So like, how much power can you pump into this before it's overpowered, or does it not matter because it dies to Killmonger, it dies to Shadow? Like, it's whole bunch. It's whole thing. It's really gonna be interesting with this card. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe this is gonna be a really solid like Series 5 card. It just the way I don't know that I feel like Series 4/5 cards are. I feel like Series 4 typically are meant to be a supporting role, and Jim Hammond feels like he's more of a supporter than like what you do in a deck. Maybe it's meant to again. Maybe
Do you consider Sunspot a supporting card?
That's a good question, and maybe I'm wrong in this, but I'm gonna say yes. Like, I don't think he's typically building the deck unless maybe it's I don't know, there are certain, I'd go She-Hulk like Infinite decks that sometimes really push into it. But oftentimes I feel like it's more of a supporter just to make sure that you're getting something out of the energy you're not spending.
I think in the She-Hulk Infinite deck, Sunspot isn't a support card, but Misty Knight would be a support card.
That's fair. Yeah, I think in that deck that's a better way to say it. But also, Misty Knight I think is a support card pretty much.
Yes, in general, besides Patriot.
Yeah,
like, she's support. But I don't think
Patriot,
Sunspot is necessarily support. I don't think he's a potential win con.
Sometimes, yeah. I don't know. Maybe it isn't. But that's honestly, I don't know if I really wanted to define it further. That's kind of the cool part about Marvel Snap, where it's like, you're right, this is a support card, but it also can win, and that's kind of what these, like, legitimately, Viv Vision is going to be kind of a support card, but maybe could legitimately win the game because of the movement bit. So it's like,
she wavers more support, but like same concept. Misty Knight is a support card, but she could win you the game. Like, that's the thing. But with you're saying
it's weird. Yeah. Anyway, there's so many. It's really nuanced. I don't know. That's a whole argument or even a debate. That's like, I don't think there'd be a correct answer at the end there. I just feel like it's nuanced.
But this brings back potential. This card has an incredibly high ceiling, and it potentially brings back older Wiccan, non-Quicksilver Wiccan.
Yeah, potentially. It'd be fun, especially with Domino being a thing now.
So
that could be really solid there.
2/4 Domino,
like
by
that.
the way. 2/4 Domino has made a huge difference. Like, there's so much more Domino.
Do you remember when hey, listen, I said it and I was wrong earlier, but you remember like a year ago, because we were recording a year ago, we were doing Snap Guys a year ago, which is just a cool thing, by the way. Still, I love that. A year ago when Wiccan came out, I'm like, listen, Domino's secret tech. I was wrong.
We both
straight up. Yep. Hey, listen. I'm one to cope. This may say Coca-Cola, but it's really Coca-Cola, okay? And you like that joke? No, he didn't. Anyway, there's a lot of fun stuff there. God, we are probably running so far through this episode. We should really get to the next card.
Well, the next card we're going to have is going to be... I got Danger as the next card, which is the Deadpool's Diner Reward, which is a 4-cost, 6-power activate card. Destroy an enemy card here with less power.
This one is here, which I think is a very notable difference.
Bro, this was global.
Yeah, I know.
Gambit?
It'd be insane. This is like I think this is going to be better for Thing First Steps. I know Thing First Steps technically can trigger multiple times, but it feels easier to use than Thing.
Well, Thing First Steps can only destroy a card once.
What do you mean? Activate cards only activate once? I don't know what you're having.
I mean, yes, but like you said, you can trigger multiple times. Like, it can get more power multiple times. Yes.
Oh, that's what I meant. Yeah. Anyway, Danger's going to be, I don't know, this is the Deadpool Snyder card. I think technically another card is releasing around the same time, which was incorrectly shown in the dev video as a card would be unlocking in Deadpool Snyder, but that's not actually one.
That
whenever
card
we
does
get
not
to him.
release till the very end of the season.
Okay, yeah, but also that one was shown incorrectly as a Deadpool's Diner Horde, where it's not. It's not even going to be inside of high voltage. It's just its own. It's going to be added to snapbacks later in the season. We'll get there when we get there. But in terms of, by the way, I know I made a concept for Bastion.
I made one for Warlock, which I am very excited for this card. Warlock is a 3-cost, 3-power card. Activate. For each unspent energy, give a card in your hand -1 cost. And the way this works, okay? When you activate it that turn, it is whatever energy you did not spend that turn. So if you floated 5 energy on turn 5, Warlock will go off. And think of Warlock like Kahori. It hits random cards in your hand to the amount of energy you haven't spent. So it could hit the same card multiple times. It could hit a couple cards multiple times, or hit 5 individual cards once with that interaction I'm talking about on turn 5, floating all energy.
Yeah. The list that you love, which I'm excited about, honestly just messing with, because I feel like it's the list I'm #1 most excited about, even though it probably could also work in high Evo. But the Hitmonkey She-Hulk 1-cost deck, like, that deck's already great at not spending power and still putting out a bunch of things, especially with Moon Girl.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be so good with that, and I'm stoked for this card.
Yeah, no, and the variants look great too. We're not gonna go over the variants here, but we went over them earlier. Not this yap, but like multiple yaps.
Yeah, I feel like a few yaps ago we did talk about them.
But
Yeah.
man, I might have to snag. I might have to snag one of the variants for Warlock, potentially the $10 one. We'll see.
I think the Warlock. Oh yeah, I haven't gotten any of those. I haven't gotten any of those Spotlight bundle things yet. I don't know. Maybe there's not been any of them that's made a. I don't care about a card like a variant worth $10. I don't know. It still doesn't matter to me.
Mm-hmm.
I need the resources to come with it personally. We'll see. Do you know if people are buying those?
I've seen some of them. My best usage I've got it from them is getting the variants from Iron Patriot. That has been
that's where I've gotten them. Yeah, like literally getting the variants from a different place is the place where I've seen the most of those variants. Yeah, but I think is he? Yeah, he's in there's a Cyberpunk album, Datamined for October.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure it's got like nearly all the cards of this season. And I'm just stoked. I know I'm gonna be getting all that stuff because that's just a full album. So I'm stoked for that one.
Yeah, no, it is gonna be a great card. Of course, Mobius does exist.
No, it doesn't.
But we pretend it doesn't. Just like they had to release these 2 cards the same week. They literally had to release these cards the same exact week because the last week of the season we do get Jocasta, which is a 3-cost. I believe it is 3 power. Yes.
So these are Santa Fan has slightly different things there, whatever. This card is insane, by the way. This card, people have been speculating about this card before we even say the ability, and I'm gonna my speculation, without even specifying further, is it's the broken way that this card is going to be able to work. Because of the fact, if it wasn't, why did this card in Data Mines get nerfed to 3/3? By the way, phrasing, bro, why does Jocasta got like a massive like
Dumpy?
Yeah, I'm glad we said dumpy at the same time. Like, I don't know what else. There's a weird thing happening in the layering of Snapdot Fan. Say the ability. Say the dang ability.
So Jocasta is going to be a 3-cost, 3-power card. Activate. Immediately activate your other cards here without using up their activates. And I have a question for you, Dance. I think I know what you're talking about here. When a card is already activated, doesn't their text fade away?
No, but the card can't be activated again.
Okay.
Normally, you can't activate the same card twice.
Okay.
Unless it's like a Jocasta thing, which is why I'm saying there's no way that this card. I think this card does do that because again, Data Mines 3/4 to 3/3. It just makes sense. We haven't had any official confirmation about this, but that makes sense to me.
So, this card with that Omega Sentinel you were talking about, Omega Sentinel goes to essentially a 417. This finally gives you value for those potential late draws of activate cards opposed to it being just a dead card. Yeah.
Yeah, because now you can actually activate technically cards on the final turn of the game. which is because, again, if you play an activate card into Jocasta's lane and then immediately activate Jocasta, she'll use the card. And so now you can, which is a really cool thing. I love it. The fact that we are getting, again, a secondary way to re-trigger activates, it makes sense. But I also, it's really interesting, again, that you talked about the other card releasing on the same day, because that's kind of a weird balancing thing. And I'm excited. Can we talk about that card? Because I feel like these two cards are going to have a lot of, hopefully, push and pull. I think it's going to be pretty interesting.
We can. I just want to also note, end of turn card decks will be coming back again at the end of the season with Jocasta. That's going to definitely be happening. And you can activate Jocasta and then also activate your other card. The Jocasta will go off first, and then your activate will go off. So you can do 2 activates pretty much on the same card at the same exact turn. So just keep that in mind. But we also have Super Adaptoid, which is a 3-cost, 5-powered Series 4 card, which is on reveal, steal the text from an enemy activate card here.
Are we gonna finally start getting some activates happening earlier in the game because of Super Adaptoid? This is the week I think it's gonna most change the way an activate kind of deck is gonna work. And I feel like a few months ago I was thinking where it was like, I don't know if we've gotten any new styles of decks recently, and I do these past few months. We've gotten some crazy new ones. We're getting activate decks this coming month. Next month we're getting a horde type of deck, which is gonna be a whole different thing there too, potentially.
Which also has activate.
And it does have activates in there. But Super Adaptoid being a way that these activate cards can work differently and are going to mess with the way that you just play these. You're not waiting until the final turn. You're going to potentially want to do some stuff earlier. You're going to be messing with this in just really different ways. And this is going to be a really cool thing to mess with.
Yeah, no, this is, of course, kind of in similar vein. Bless you.
I was trying to mute for it, and I didn't in time.
So I was like, okay. Kind of in similar vein to, when are you running Shang-Chi? When are you running Luke Cage? Stardust, etc. This is a tech card. So it's going to be a kind of meta-dependent card. I know when Glazer went over his new cards video for this season, he has it in a Sarah Tech deck, which, of course, can work in that. If you're seeing a lot of Bullseye discard, this just munches that up. It can munch up some of the, can munch up Warlock and munch up the Jocasta, but I think they released it the same week as Jocasta because they wanted to have something to make it so Jocasta doesn't go completely rampant. Of course, there's still Cosmic Ghost Rider, there's still Red Guardian, which is another reason why I think they made Jocasta a 3/3 instead of a 3/4. But just an immediate counter to that, and this card's going to be very specific for what it does, but a good stat line for it as well at the 3/5.
Yeah, there's gonna be a really fun push and pull I think we're gonna kind of get our sea legs with activate for the first few weeks. We're getting better and better with it, but they're really trying to push it more and more. And then this last week of the season, we're gonna be like, all right, let's just refigure out how to play activate decks now because it's just gonna be different. And I'm stoked. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I like it. I like a lot of these cards, Tuck. Do you want to talk about what we want to rank them in?
So, I have Awesome Andy as my bottom. Ayo.
It's such a shame. I wish, for what it's worth, I hate that that's probably I'm gonna have him higher because I'm gonna cope it, but I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna put down. I think it's Jim Hammond. Jimmy. I don't know. Yes, it can get big. But I feel like it's not as crazy as some of the other stuff. It doesn't feel like it's going to do as much cool things maybe that I want to see. So Jim Hammond's going to be my number 11 there.
I think next I'm going to put probably Danger.
Danger's a fair one. Is that... I'm going to say Super Adaptoid as my number 10 because... while I do think it's going to change the game, I also don't think it's going to be I don't know if it's going to be that crazy. Maybe it will be. But, I'm interested in this, whether or not this is a truly, crazy card. Whether or not this is going to really change everything else. And otherwise, it's also not the most exciting ability.
That's fair. I have Moira as my next one.
Moira's your number 9?
Yeah.
That's the one you've been. Oh, I did not expect this actually. That's already. I'm already thrown off a little bit. I think I'm throwing Danger as my number 9 though, and this is again kind of following similar to what you had done. Awesome Andy's probably my number 8, even if I wish he was going to be better. I just like. Yeah.
I'll probably go Super Adaptoid, and then Jim Hammond.
That's fair. Yeah. Yeah, Super Adaptoid into Jim Hammond. All right. So that's what do I have for my number 7? And we're starting to get to the more interesting stuff, right? I actually think this is probably where I'm gonna go with a Sparky. I do like Sparky, but also I think with the other cards that we have coming out, if I'm not mistaken, is Moira X there? No, Moira X is first. Moira X and then Sparky, I'm gonna say actually.
Okay.
Moira X is my number 7. Number 6 is Sparky. So Sparky's like literally right in the middle, right? Not bad. Not really crazy good either.
I'm gonna go Omega Sentinel and then Sparky.
Omega Sentinel and then Sparky? Okay, yeah. I think Omega Sentinel is probably... Is that my next one there? Is it Omega Sentinel then? I think... Yeah, I think Omega Sentinel is probably going to be my next one there as well. I feel like that's probably just a fair place. And then what do I have before I get to my top 3? Because then I've got Warlock, Jocasta, Bastion, and Viv. I like Bastion. Bastion's my number 4 though.
Okay.
Nothing against the guy. That's where he fits for me. I'm gonna hold before I get to my top 3.
I'm gonna go Warlock, my number 4.
Warlock's your number 4. Okay. All right. Do we have the same number? Who's your number 3?
Number 3 is Viv.
Number 3 is Viv. Okay. That's fair. I feel like I'm going Jocasta here.
Okay.
I really do. I like Viv, and I think Jocasta's gonna be really cool, but also this kind of goes into the thing where I think we talked about this before, where it's like, maybe I'm wrong about like which one's gonna be, like Jocasta's probably gonna be really meta breaking, really big, but this is where I'm differing a bit from what I think is gonna be meta, just my own personal list going there. So then, what are your options between number 1 and number 2? Mine are, is it Viv Vision and Warlock are my top 2.
My top 2, my number 2 is going to be Jocasta, and number 1 is going to be Bastion.
So we have the same top 4. We just kind of swapped a little bit in the order there. So Bastion's your number 1 though?
Yep. Okay.
And I think for mine's Warlock. I think Warlock's just a card. It's funny, the cards that we made each other's like forever ago when we did those homebrew things, wherever we made our own version of the cards. We each made the other person's of this season's favorite card, which I think that's a fun little shout there. So as a recap, then I'm going to break this all down again for everyone who just wanted that. Tuck, your number 1 is Bastion. Number 2, Jocasta. Number 3, Viv Vision. Number 4, Warlock. Number 5, Sparky. Number 6 is Omega Sentinel. Number 7 is Jim Hammond, Human Torch. Number 8 is Super Adaptoid. Number 9 is Moira X. Number 10 is Danger. And number 11 is Awesome Andy.
Yep.
And I'm following up with Warlock as my number 1, Viv Vision as my number 2, Jocasta number 3, Bastion number 4, Omega Sentinel number 5, Sparky number 6, Moira X number 7, Awesome Andy number 8, Danger number 9, Super Adaptoid number 10, Jim Hammond Human Torch number 11. Tuck, this is going to be a pretty sick week for Marvel Snap. We got 11 new cards coming out this month. We've got some pretty cool commentators for the Golden Gauntlet from what I've heard, and I think pretty exciting, just general style of cards. The more activate stuff is cool, as well as I kind of like the theming and the looks of all these guys.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a more fun season. I think there's still going to be tech everywhere, and a lot of people playing Hela, because Hela is also everywhere right now too. So there's a lot of that. So get your Stardusts ready for the start of the new season. And also get ready for probably both Dance and I streaming, or me streaming on today. Yeah. At some point, both of us will be streaming. I'll be streaming right at reset. Dance will probably be streaming right before reset, and then through reset for a little bit.
I won't be streaming today.
He lied to me. Actually,
I didn't tell you I was streaming. I'm gonna be recording today.
He always streams day 1, and today he decided he's not going to.
I haven't done that in a few months.
I can't believe it.
thank y'all for watching. We appreciate all of you very much. I'm forcing an end here because this episode's been going on too long already.
Yeah, so if you guys would like and comment something about Adaptoid down below in the description. And yeah, thank
Use
you
the word
guys
super.
so much for watching. No, it's Adaptoid. It's Adaptoid this time.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Adaptoid. Use. Actually, how about adapt? Adapt.
No.
It's easier word to use.
Nope.
You're gonna.
It has to be Adaptoid.
Sorry, y'all. You have to use the word Adaptoid in the comments if you made it this far. You have to. I tried to make it easier on you. Tuck said no.
Nope. We're using Adaptoid today. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. It's been real. God bless and laters.